Alright, y'all, welcome back. This is a very special episode. It's just gonna be two friends just sitting back. We have great conversations with all of our other guests, but today we're gonna take it back a little bit, dial it back, just have it be us two. Today's a very special episode, though. We are celebrating 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers, yes. Confetti, everything, all those other noise effects everywhere, yes.
Maybe. I won't guarantee I'll edit that in. I won't guarantee that.
Oh, it's for 100 subs, you have to.
Yeah.
I don't even do that for like big ass banger videos. Alright, fuck it, I'll do it.
100 subs, though.
100 subs.
So far, crazy journey.
Not no cap.
Well, is crazy the word you used to describe it or not?
I'd give it like
What word would you use to describe the last 6 months?
If I could be honest with you without sounding like a pretentious prick, I was like, I already knew like that it was gonna happen and shit.
Right.
Because like I said, like I was telling you before we like started recording and shit, like I been knew what path I'm gonna take.
Yeah.
And like the fact that like my accomplishments now are like getting recognized and shit, it's just like I already like I knew it, but it's just that now I finally put in enough work, I guess, for other people to recognize it. And I'm like, yeah, I told you I do this shit.
Yeah, it's like, well, from what
it was fun.
Similar,
Yeah.
before we were really rolling, it was kind of that said the same thing. Like, this all started, at least when I came into this, this all started on Twitter. He tweeted out, I'm trying to be on Hot Ones.
I'll throw the tweet up there.
Yeah, and me, I literally too, I just said, I was like, hey, if you're down, fuck it, I'll do the interview. I'll be Sean Evans. And we made it happen, actually. We actually lined up, like, when we started going, like, exchanging back and forth messages of, like, okay, that's when it was clear, okay, this is going to happen, all right? I started, I'll admit, preparing for it, I think I let you know the beginning of February, because you tweeted out in January.
Yeah.
And
the very beginning of 2022, which is like crazy, like symbolic.
Yeah, actually, I remember now too, because I was getting into when I'd said, when I responded, like, let's do it. I remember I was getting a haircut from Steven, and I couldn't remember who brought it up. It was either me or him, but one of us brought it up, and like it was getting serious. So then we started messaging one another, and it was like, okay. Because I'll admit in the beginning, so in the beginning of February when I said, all right, hey, give me the end of the month, then we'll get this knocked out. You're like, all right, sounds good. I'll admit, first couple weeks I didn't really do shit. But then when we started kind of like talking more, like letting me know, hey, I'm getting the sauces and everything, I was like, oh shit, okay, I needed to prepare. But again, I genuinely thought it was going to be a one-off. I'll come in, I'll just help him out with this video, and that'll be it. My time will be done. But obviously, no. I'll get into that later. But,
we got like 3 shows now.
Yeah, shit, fucking, it was wild. So I remember just watching, I'd watch Hot Ones, because I'm already a fan of the show. So I was watching every Thursday when they uploaded. And so I already knew how Sean Evans conducted interviews. And then also, too, just kind of watching parodies, too, people that have done it themselves. To get an idea. Like, okay, so it wasn't that tough for me. And then questions I already knew what I wanted to ask you, because we've known each other, but most don't know. We've all known each other for the most part since high school. Yeah. Because, Steven and I, Hoser, Oscar, we all graduated together.
It's almost like a decade at this point.
Yeah, you and Caesar, you guys were below us by a couple of years, because you and Caesar.
We were freshmen when you guys were juniors.
Yeah, and then Benji came in after we graduated. Yeah. So it's been wild, and like I also said, I knew you were gonna obviously people were gonna be like, hey, that was a good video because it was your channel.
Yeah.
But when people started reaching out to me and were like, hey, like you did a real good job as an interviewer, and then that's when they said that's how the ThotKast was born, because people were telling us both, you guys need to do a podcast because they liked us as a duo, and I was like, shit, it was another one of those where I was like, all right, why not? Like, why not? And
I mean, that's how most things on this channel get started. Like, when we throw up a concept and we're like, fuck it, why not?
And you literally said too, if you go back and watch the interview we did, literally you even, when I asked you, I forgot what question I asked you, but you said, I don't even know if we were filming, I might have just, no, I remember now. I think it was, we weren't even filming. I just said, I'm not going to lie, I can't believe this is actually happening. We're actually doing this. And you had said, like, hey, we make it happen. And so I've learned from that, in times and how we prepare for these videos, obviously in your preparation and how, the work you put into, like, even though, obviously your channel isn't where a lot of these big channels are. Because a lot of these YouTubers, yeah, exactly. A lot of these YouTubers with millions of subscribers, obviously, it's a legitimate job. Mm-hmm. But, like, even in general, I think the amount of work I see you put in and how passionate you are about your videos and your content, that just goes to me, that does show, at least to me, it does show, okay, yeah, no, this YouTube shit really isn't easy. And because it's a full-time, it literally itself is a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's really all it is, because, if you want to perfect your craft, if you're basically, like, as an artist, you want to perfect craft, so you're gonna need to put in the work. You can't just half-ass it.
Nah, see, like the fact that you said that, like you can't half-ass like art.
Yeah.
Because like if you're really passionate about something, you're gonna make it your like your life's goal to like fully realize what you're capable in that field and shit, right?
Yeah.
So like when I do paintings and shit, like when I do videos and shit, I don't go into the video thinking like, oh, that shit gonna take me like blah blah blah, how long to edit. Like I fully do my thing in the video and enjoy the process of recording it, because you're never gonna get that feeling back.
Oh yeah.
Because recording it like is just a different feeling, because in that moment you're not working.
Yeah.
Well, if you're doing it for the sake of you loving the craft and shit, it's not working when you're recording, because like you're there with the people you love and you know you're gonna get a good product out of it, because like the chemistry's there.
Oh, yeah.
And like all that shit is there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just go in here and I'm gonna record this video, and like I'll get to the editing when I get to it, because I know when I do get to it, which isn't till like 1 or 2 days after the actual shoot date, when I actually get to it, except for the case of the TBC Olympics, it was like 2 weeks later. But like I knew for a fact, like once I sat down to record that video, I wasn't gonna want to get up.
Yeah.
Because I was like I know for a fact like this video is gonna like take me to like the next level and shit. Like it wasn't even my idea to begin with. The TBC Olympics was Steven's idea.
Yeah.
And then like I gotta give him like the props and shit, because I didn't come up with that shit. And I just knew that like when that video, I thought about it, I conceptualized it, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Steven started giving me the games that he wanted to do and shit. I was like, okay, that's interesting. He got all the props and everything, so I gotta give like the homie love and shit, because like he put in work for it. And to date, like to this date that we're in right now, it's the biggest video we've done so far. Almost 400 views.
Oh yeah. That's what's crazy. So actually, let's just say that at the time too, I remember when I came in, you know, and I'm not gonna lie too, I kind of watched your channel a bit more, went back, watched some old videos, seemed like okay, and then I remember once ThotKast dropped, the first episode, I remember fucking, at the time, it was like, it became your most watched video, and then we brought on the ThotKast, and then, you know, we did the one with you and me, we were like, alright, well, let's just see where this takes us, and then we did Jose's episode, and that one really climbed out to where people went back and watched the first one.
To be fair, that was like, around Thought Ones and the first ThotKast episode, that was when like people started realizing that this channel isn't just gonna be like shitty little videos that you just put together.
Like you can actually
like it's enjoyable content that you could watch, and like you, even if you want to, you could rewatch that shit.
Oh yeah.
I know some people that go like, oh yeah, sometimes I throw that bitch on because like that shit like it was funny, dog, and I was like, oh, like I appreciate you and shit.
Oh yeah.
And like I never say this shit to myself, because I don't feel like I'm meaning it. But when I say like I'm proud of the boys and I'm proud of like you and all of them for like coming together and shit, and like putting in the work that you guys done, like I'm proud of you guys for that shit.
Yeah.
Because this is like my dream, right?
Right.
But I feel like at this point it's like a group thing that we're all like working towards, because it's gonna lead us all to like our own different like
for sure,
our own different things, and like I don't know, I'm like really proud of the boys and shit.
Oh,
not of me, not yet. I still got things to do.
See, everyone's their own worst critic, so of course you're gonna be like, no, like you could be like, I'm not gonna be happy or satisfied till XYZ happens, and even after that happens, you may still be like, oh no, I'm not satisfied yet.
I don't think I'll ever be satisfied.
No one ever is really. I know, at least I know myself enough to know I'll never be satisfied, because I'm always just like, like when I finished school, I remember, you know, people were telling me like, hey, you know, congrats, college graduate, big deal. I was like, yeah, thanks, but back in my head I was like, I don't feel like I'm a big deal, or I don't feel like it is. Yeah, like just one of those. That's actually when I came to terms with myself. I'm like, hey, I'm actually never gonna be satisfied, never. Which
that's a good thing.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's like a bad thing.
That's like the mentality of like the people who change the world and shit. Like the people who want to like do big shit, they're never satisfied. Do you think like Michelangelo or Da Vinci was like satisfied with like their sculptures or their paintings or their fucking like inventions and shit? They wanted to do bigger shit.
That's true.
Like Da Vinci made the fucking Mona Lisa. Michelangelo made the fucking, I think he made the Thinker.
He painted the Sistine Chapel.
He painted the Sistine Chapel. Like, and those are bodies of work that are still talked about hundreds of years later. Like that's the type of shit I want to strive for. Like that, I want to do shit that's like, that like you could like you'll like talk about them like they're like this greater than life figure, even though like right now we're just like regular people. And I'm always gonna look at us as like regular people in our circle. But if you look at it like outwards, like there's not people with like drive that each one like to have like 8 or 10 people so close together in a group like the Thick Boys and Associates and shit. that are so driven to like actually make shit work and like
Kind of
shake
unheard
shit
of.
up. It's unheard of,
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of unheard
It's
of.
like there's not groups of people that
Like,
do that
or
shit just
well,
because they want to do
The
it.
groups will start off big, but eventually like they
And
lose
they whittle
momentum
down.
because some venture off, they do other stuff, and then eventually it's like, all right, that's like never mind. What's the point of it
Yeah.
now? So it's really just all about, I guess, taking it serious, being serious about it.
No, for
so.
sure.
But no, these last, definitely. Seeing where the channel's been in the last 6 months it's been wild. It's like, oh fuck, I mean, obviously more to come.
No, for sure. Like when people tell
Got
me like,
ideas in mind for sure. Be on the lookout.
what's that been?
Oh yeah.
But like when people tell me and shit, they'll be like, "Hey, bro, like you've been going crazy. Like you guys do like so much like cool shit. Like how do you do that shit? Like blah blah blah." And I was like, I don't know. I never had a teacher to teach me any of the shit I learned. I learned by myself because like in school, like they give you like they tell you like, oh, make a video for this shit.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the class would like make like for AP World History, I would edit the videos for like my groups and shit.
Yeah.
And everybody would be like doing like regular shit, I guess, like just like simple jump cuts and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you could do that and like get a passing grade and shit.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, I could like dead ass put in work and like make this shit like a whole production off a fucking MacBook.
Yeah,
And I'm
all
a
on
sophomore in
iMovie.
high school.
All
and
on
shit.
iMovie.
All on iMovie,
All
and
on
I fucking
iMovie.
like, and I could do that shit. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do
I
that.
remember doing this for Warden's class.
That shit was fun. That
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
no,
what
that makes it
ignited
work.
like the editing part of
Yeah,
like
for
my
sure.
vision and
Yeah.
shit. And I was like, oh, I could do like a bunch of shit. And I never looked up a YouTube tutorial and shit. For most of the things I do,
Well,
I've never
well, also too is
seen anything.
some kind of early thing is though too, especially with the thick boys and shit, is also, when you line up shoot days too, everyone definitely, even if it's on a day, like everyone at least tries to.
What the fuck? How the fuck did your phone fall? Our producer's phone just fell. If you didn't know, are you?
My shorts are sleeping.
Yeah, keep,
What the fuck?
keep that in.
Not no
Keep that
cap,
in.
I'ma add a
Keep
thud.
that in. Keep that
I'm
in.
gonna add a thud in my fucking sound.
Let's start laughing when Joey
Steven-
finally realizes what
Steven
happened.
Phelps.
Not no cap, is fucking Steven died. Steven had a stroke. Like what the fuck?
Steven blacked out.
Not no cap.
I was
Our
trying
next
to pop
guest.
my neck, fool, and my phone just let go.
I thought you were falling asleep, bro.
I was trying to pop that.
I was like, I just saw him like this and shit. I was like, oh my god, he's fucking cheesed right now.
I remember when we shot the first episode, he was just sleeping on this couch, just like as we were recording.
Dude,
just
that couch is mad comfy when you lay on it like that.
For no cap, I'm
Yeah.
sinking right
Oh,
now, bro.
no.
I'm fucking
Like,
sinking.
you guys were up top. I don't know.
If I lay down, I'd like.
That's on that couch, I turned on the AC, I pointed towards the couch, and I laid down backwards. How I did? Knock out right away. Best naps.
No, cat. They say this is the crazy shit. They say you should take naps on anything but your bed, because like your brain is gonna like
I actually every
condition
time
itself.
every time I take a nap, it's either on my couch or on the floor. I've never napped. If I'm in my bed, I'm like sleeping.
I like to nap on the floor too.
On the floor? How? I can't do it
okay,
comfortably.
you've been into my apartment. You know
Yeah,
that
on
beanbag-
that-
the
that
beanbag-
right there?
The beanbag chair we have against the wall.
Yeah.
That's like I'll lay right there. But it's
Oh,
me,
yeah.
right
Not
with
because
me.
his floor is mad comfortable.
I'm
like
not
I was
right
there.
here.
I-
You
I'm
have
not
to be
gonna.
like
I'm not
carpet.
gonna lie. Actually, like though, there's times where I've like napped on my floor and it's been like I've been on an uneven part. And I'm like, oh, I don't like how this feels on my back.
Yeah.
But like I could.
Are you a back sleeper or a front sleeper?
back?
On both.
I do both, mainly
I
front,
haven't-
but I've been doing back
I
recently.
haven't slept. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't slept like probably on my stomach like at night. Probably at least that I can recall since. I was a teenager.
I heard something like some certain sleep position is bad for you. I think it might be face down, but I'm not sure.
I think it
It might.
I'm either I fall asleep like on my back and always wake up on my side or vice versa.
Yeah, I move a
Fall
lot.
asleep on
in
my
sleep.
side, wake up on my
Apparently
back.
you're supposed to have a pillow under your knees if you sleep.
It's actually-
outside.
I do that now. I do that now. Do that.
You're
Do
supposed to have
that.
one on some point, like in
It's
your like
good for your lower
mid to
back.
lower
It's
back.
good.
You're supposed to
No,
have
it's
another
good.
one there too on your back.
Yeah, also-
No, if you could have like two long pillows, one in between your legs, like you're holding tight beat, and like one behind you, like where your spine is, fire. I've
Yeah,
done that
It's
shit,
also this weird thing.
but it gets
Well,
hot.
so actually,
If you're on your side, you put one between your legs, and then you have one like you're hugging it, and then one on your head.
When I was-
Oh, that's why I just have one
Yeah,
long ass
when I
one.
was,
It makes me sound like a lonely ass
no,
nigga.
well,
though.
so when I was a kid, I had a,
It's like a hidden loop.
No cap.
actually in high school.
It's like the fetal position.
I had
Yeah.
I had a body pillow, so like I would actually when I'd lay on, I kept it on.
Would you ever hump it during puberty? I used to do weird shit. I'm not gonna say well, maybe we can.
Not proud of it, but you know, every teenager.
Yeah,
has
every
its
teenager does
phases.
some weird shit.
Yeah, but
right?
anyway, if that answers your question.
No,
But
it didn't.
anyway, I keep it on my left side, on the far side. You know, because the way my room was set up on this side, that's like the edge of my bed. You know, because it would be against like this side on the wall. See, there's just tags right there. But to our earlier story. But
Bro, I'm about to go take that shit and put it on the
right.
spot myself.
Anyway, I keep it on this side, so like when I was facing this way, I kind of like would be up and cuddle it. But if I like faced against it, it would just kind of be towards my back. And I always slept great.
Bro,
I
I'm gonna
always
tell
slept
you
great.
right now. I used to do some down bad shit in order to get to sleep and shit. Cause I used to romanticize like falling asleep with a significant other a lot, right? So I would pretend like that my pillow that I was this is gonna sound crazy. Gonna be like 4K a fucking loser. I'll be like, bro, we all did some regrettable shit when we were young.
Yeah.
Like don't come at me and shit.
Don't act
So
like
I used
you
to hold the
don't
pillow
act
at
like
night.
you haven't humped a body pillow.
Yeah, no
Like,
cap.
come on.
Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Everybody does some weird shit.
Yeah.
Like I hate when people go like, wow, what the fuck, you're a weirdo. I was like, I was
you
14
did
and
the same
horny.
shit, motherfucker.
Like I was
Yeah.
14 and horny. Of course I'm gonna fucking like do some dumb shit. Like what the fuck? Hormones. But anyway, back to what I was saying and shit. I used to only be able to fall asleep if I imagined myself falling asleep in like my girlfriend's arms or some shit like that. Like that shit, I was down
Interesting.
tragically.
Interesting.
Yeah, cause like cause like I don't know why, but I feel like a relationship, like an actual like good one, like a healthy one, is like something like so like. I think that's like mythical to me and shit. Like doing like regular shit, like painting something like beautiful and shit, like that's regular.
Yeah.
But like something mythical, like a healthy relationship, like that shit is crazy to me. Like that should show you like how I like grew up, I guess. Like I seen good relationships, but like
To be fair, a healthy relationship isn't mythical. It's just.
it's not mythical.
It's
I guess.
portrayed. Is it safe to say it's portrayed as mythical?
I feel like it's portrayed as easy to get, but in reality, it's not. Because a lot of people aren't like.
It's easy to throw on a fake smile.
No,
when
yeah,
you're
for
not
sure.
right up here. I do it all the time.
Everybody does that shit. So I'm like nah, because like what, like bro, I don't wanna diss no exes, so I'm not gonna say like no
for
names
sure,
and
yeah.
shit. But like when I started talking to one of my like exes and shit, right? Like I fucked with her heavy and shit. Like it was cool. When I first hit her up, I just got out of a bad relationship and shit, like a bad like, so I was like fucked up and like type shit. I was just like I just want to like just get my mind off that other shorty. So I was like I chopped it up with this one. And I was like I didn't hit her up specifically to be like, oh, I want to like whatever and shit with her. I hit her up, like I was like, let's see if she's like cool and shit, cause like she fucks with the shit I do. I fuck with her and like it's cool. So I chopped it up with her and shit, and I was like, oh no, this shorty's dope. And like time progresses and shit, we get closer. Eventually we started dating, and like throughout the relationship, it's like the honeymoon phase and shit.
Yeah.
So you don't really focus on the red flags.
Yeah.
But when shit really starts going like left, then you start to go like, okay, that was weird. That was weird too and shit. That's a little odd. And then I'm like, fuck. Like it took me until now. Like that relationship ended like a year ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn, like that shit was not good. She was not good.
I look back at my encounters, deeming that, and, you know, again, not gonna say names, but you know, I haven't. Now, again, I look back at my encounters that I've had in the past. You know, when I was 19, 20. You know, even in my, you know, I mean, I'm 24 now, but you know, when I was still younger, a few years ago essentially, I see a lot of like, I'm like, oh, that was a giant red flag right there, but just in the moment you never noticed it.
Cause you're all puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you know, and I've learned too that all right, I'm not perfect. You know, like I got my flaws. I'm still learning when it comes to the opposite sex. You know, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm just being honest. You know, but I have come to learn that, you know, I think too in the moment, because how prior, as a kid, you know, I was, you know, again, you've known me since high school, so you knew I was chubby.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get, I had a girlfriend in high school, but I never, you know, I never got attention, you know, so now that once I lost weight and I was like, oh shit, you really are cute. Well, I've been cute, let's be real now.
Damn,
you know,
what the fuck? There you go. There you go, peace.
Anyway, fucking, yeah, thank you. Anyway, fucking Instagram, Twitter right here. Anyway.
Damn it! Now I gotta edit it now. ThotKast, minimal editing.
Right.
100% realness.
Put the socials like right there. Anyway. But anyway, you know, it was one of those where at the time, I guess once I wasn't used to it, so yeah, like you said, you get puppy dog eyed, you don't notice it.
Yeah.
Long story short, you don't notice it. Now I do, so no. it's all still a learning game for me.
I think that's the thing I had too.
And I'm not ashamed of it.
Nah, you shouldn't be
I've
ashamed.
been
That's
actually,
life.
have you ever been? Don't mind me asking. Have you ever been like, has a girl ever like asked you if you were gay? Like, did they ever get the impression that you came off as gay?
Ah, bruh, dudes ask me that shit. Girls ask me that shit.
Okay.
Like people just assume that shit and tell my friends that shit. It's like, bruh,
I mean,
that's
I
regular
expect that
shit.
from your friends. I expect.
My friends tell me that shit all the
Yeah.
time, but I also tell them I'm like, yeah, I'm
Steven's
pansexual. Real
nodding in
shit.
agreement as we're going.
And Steven's just like, yeah, that was fucking like that was crazy. That was gay as fuck.
No.
This is big gay. I don't know how he gets pussy.
I
Like, that shit crazy.
I've been when I worked at my first job I ever worked at. You know, again, staff used to visit me at my old job.
BK.
Yeah,
BK.
and, you know, the staff there was mainly women, and I remember when I first started, and I was getting to know everyone. I remember a few of them, a handful actually thought, you know, they asked me. One of them even asked me one time. I was working one of the closing shifts, and it was the manager that was working that night. She was just like, "Hey, quick question." She goes, "Are you gay?" I was like, "No," and you know, I wasn't offended, so she was kind of like at ease, and she was like, "Oh, okay," and I was like, "Well, what made you ask that? I'm curious."
Was it
now."
because you're a nice guy?
That's exactly what she said. She was all like,
It's always there.
she was all like, oh, she's like, oh, just, you know, you're really sweet. I was like, oh, cool. Now, fast forward,
Bitches.
fast forward into this past spring. It was, you know, my birthday weekend. I was in Santa Barbara.
Mhm.
I was, you know, downtown bar hopping with my friend that lives out there, and I was just chopping up this, you know, female that I'd met. That we had met at the bar, and she asked me eventually, you know, but again, drinks are in the system, so you know, a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts.
Facts.
So anyway, this, you know,
the biggest titties I've ever seen.
this young lady, she asked me, she was all like, you know, she's like, okay, I'm just gonna ask, you know, we were talking to, and she, at one point she was like, all right, I'm just gonna ask, you know, I'm just gonna get it out the way. She's like, are you gay?
That's
and
wild.
and she's like, you know, I was like, no, I'm not. And I told her like, no, I'm not. And she was like, oh, okay. She was like, okay, I'm sorry, like if I offend you. I was like, no, you're fine. You know, you're not the only one. And I asked her though the same thing. I was like, what made you come to that? And similar. She's like, oh, just, you know, you're really nice. You're being very respectful. And then to me, it kind of clicked of like, all right,
Like,
well,
most dudes are shit.
if
Like,
well, besides that, it was okay. I'll get to that, but that's a conversation for that's another whole another topic. But
I feel like that would be a good episode. That would be a good conversation for our next guest.
yes. So anyway, but for me, it just kind of clicked. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? If being a nice guy, quote unquote, you know, makes you super gay, then all right, fine.
I guess I'm flaming.
I'm as gay as they fucking come then. Shit.
See, that's what I don't get. Like, well, how do they correlate like you being a decent human being to like being gay?
I
and shit?
can't answer. I couldn't answer that. Couldn't.
A lot of gay dudes are mean. Like a lot of them are mean and shit.
We're not
Like,
bashing on them.
We're not bashing on
Yeah,
them. Like,
just
what the fuck?
our
But
experiences.
a lot of like just like strictly homosexual men are mean. and
Bro,
shit.
if you turn one down, they get so fucking.
They get upset and shit.
Yeah,
Be like,
it's
okay,
like,
but you're
I'm
fat
sorry,
anyway. and
what
shit.
the fuck?
Like, what the fuck? Like,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
To be
like,
fair, though,
like you're not my type, bro. Like,
I mean, I think though.
I'm like, you're too easy for sorry.
okay, you're out here giving up cheeks immediately. Why would I want you? You're a whore. Not like well, you're
Well,
you're a
you
fucking
think-
slut, my guy.
When you think about it, though,
Yeah,
at
I'm gonna
least
switch for a whore. I can get one now.
Not okay.
maybe you can.
Terrible.
I mean, also, at least what I would say to that is, you got to look at it as. Excuse me. Oh. Anyways, careful. You know, they've already gone through a lot of like discrimination. They're already being poked at, made fun of enough because they like a certain gender. You know, they like the same gender as they are. You know, and especially if they come from religious backgrounds where sometimes those percentages are higher. If they're already been ridiculed and outcasted, I kind of look at it as, all right, that makes a total sense as to why they probably are snappy and just mean, because it's like, if there is that use of not belonging, rejection, because like, you know, for some, especially how extreme,
Yeah.
you know, whatever the beliefs are in that family, you know, again, not judging anything, you know, nothing against, you know, people who are religious at all, nothing against it, but, you know, just that's where it is, because, you know, some are just, that's just how it is. Some cultures, religious, it's very zero tolerance. They literally look at it as you are a disgrace. That is a sin. Exactly. So I just, if you're like, all right, I mean, if there's my stance on that. But, you know, to your point, yeah, you know, I've had negative interactions with, you know, with homosexuals as long as obviously.
I've never had like not negative as to the point where like they offend me.
No,
and shit, but, like,
negative just
like,
being as like, you know,
say
like,
some mean shit like okay.
yeah, and it's like, okay, hey,
I was just saying something.
yeah, like, sorry, like, my bad if I upset you, but also it was a little over the
like
top.
that was a little
there.
like fucked up and shit. Like,
Yeah, but
come on.
okay, all right, whatever. I'm gonna walk away
Yeah.
now. So.
But that just makes me like realize that I guess anybody can be mean and shit. Like
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
can be an asshole and shit. But that just makes me appreciate like nice people more and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like what the fuck, like the gay homies from high school and shit. They were the nicest people I ever met.
Oh yeah.
And like I'm like I fuck with y'all heavy and shit. Any person I met that's like a genuine person and good,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't give a fuck what you are. And shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't give less of a fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't affect me in the slightest.
That's what I've always liked about myself is because, you know, you meet me and you kind of build this already, get this impression, you build this interpretation of how I am as a person, and then you get to know me more and you come to see, oh, he's kind of polar opposite to the way he acts.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. Because like me and my roommate, when we first met, we didn't like he wasn't a big fan of me, and I was kind of like
really
I was kind of iffy on him.
I fuck with your roommate. He's fucking.
No,
funny,
exactly,
man.
no, exactly. And now like him and I, we got to know each other more, and you realize, oh shit, like no, okay.
Like when you
mind.
guys moved in, you guys didn't fuck with each other.
No, we did.
I was about to say at that point you guys were wild.
No. We no. I actually I met him. My roommate's name's Kyle. I met him like literally maybe like a couple months before I moved out to Fresno, because I knew his old roommate.
Oh, okay.
His old roommate's from Riverdale. So because they work together at the same job. So because he taught gymnastics on the side, so they worked together at the same spot. So that's how I met him, and we were always there just hanging out because our friend lived there. And then obviously we got to know him more, and he became cool. And then him and I, became friends. And then that's how I met Nathan and a lot of his other friends now that are now my friends.
Yeah,
so it's definitely been like me and him always look back and I'm like, damn, still crazy how we at the beginning, this was 2019. We were like, I don't know about this guy. Now we're just like, all right. Now look at us. Now I obviously live together. Yeah. Because, and at the time too, I moved in because I didn't want to move back home. I'll admit I didn't want to. If I had to, I would have. I would have sucked it up and did it. But I was like, no, like the opportunity's there to still live on my own. I want to live on my own.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, and I like it though.
See, how does it feel living on your own, like away from home? Because like I haven't experienced that yet, but like some of the thick boys are planning on moving out, and we might make that move soon.
Here's my thing. Here's all I'm gonna tell you with this is, especially because you've told me before you have plans on leaving the valley completely.
Yeah.
It's a whole different animal when you leave the valley as opposed to just me. I just moved to Fresno. It's 30 minutes minimum from here to Fresno.
I'm thinking like 4 hours.
No, exactly. Like I said, we've had this conversation already. But what I noticed, because when even just moving to Fresno, I still got homesick. Like I was always in the beginning. Like it was an adjustment. Coming home knowing, oh yeah, this is just me. Well, me and my friend Eric, me and him lived together. This was our place. This is me and my friend. This isn't my mom. This isn't my dad. Like not being there with a parental figure. Like no, like and again, I was 20. I was 21 at the time. Just kind of newly a few months of being 21. So, on my own and everything. So I was glad. I was fortunate enough. I got to. I had a job that I was able to cover my own end on top of still being able to go to school. And again, too, just for that experience of, our apartment was right around the corner from Fresno State. I didn't have to buy a parking pass. I was walking or I would just skateboard to campus. It was fun. I was having to me, I was having that added to my college experience was that right
sure.
there.
That sounds like it would.
And, and again, too, like even then, because Eric and I, when we would talk about it at times when we were going through different leases, it was all a matter of, well, whenever this time is up, if we can't find another place to live, we just go back home, but we're still going to stay friends. But for the most part, I did get homesick, and I was going over, like, I'd go visit my mom, like, every weekend. I'd come back home, and I didn't have a washer dryer yet, so I was still doing laundry.
Okay.
But she did tell me, though, too, like, same thing. My mom told me, she's like, look, you're on your own now, so, yeah, you're my son, but still, you don't need to feel obligated to come and visit. You're not that far away.
That's crazy that she said that.
It's like cuffs were off, too. Because that was the thing, too, when you live at home, yeah, I'm old enough. I'm technically an adult, but you're still under your parents' roof, so there's still gonna be that sense of 20 questions and all this stuff. Which again, they worry, and I got nothing. And I'm a mama's boy. I love my mom. I know how she, that's how it. I got nothing. I love her.
Yeah.
That's all. That's as simple as that.
Simple.
But just I know how she is though too, and because she's my mom, she knows how to get under my skin.
Facts.
So that was I wanted that freedom aspect, so I wanted to move out, and I'm just glad that I can still do it. That's why I still live on my own. But I always know having that safety, I guess, blanket of just knowing, okay, well, if I needed to, like, that's my worst case scenario. I'll still have a roof over my head and a bed to sleep in. Like, there's still a place I can call home for me to go. So that's what I've always liked about it. But as opposed to
okay, look. since like I do plan on moving away with the boys and shit, and I do plan on making like my artistic endeavors my career. Like it's not that I plan on it; it's that it's gonna happen, and that's what I want.
You're
to happen.
manifesting it for sure.
I'm manifesting it, and but with manifestation, you got to put in the work to do it, and I'm most definitely putting in the work to do it. Like even in my free time when I'm not like specifically trying to do anything to get better at my craft and shit. Like the other day, I celebrated 100 subs by myself and shit. I drank like a bottle of wine, and I was like,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Damn.
I gave like me and my brother had a glass each and
Okay.
shit. We celebrated, and then that was the same day I got this backdrop and shit. I was like, fuck it, let me take some pictures of myself and see what I can make work. And I took pictures of myself. I'm like, I really want to see like, all right. I opened up Photoshop, and like I said, like everything I do, I never like looked at YouTube videos to like figure out how to do
You
it.
just
I
learned it yourself.
I learned it myself. I go on Photoshop and I'm like, all right, let's see. Cause you'll learn. Cause I'm not the type that could learn off a tutorial the easiest. Like I have to do it myself in order for me to like properly get into it. So I like did that shit. And those pictures I sent you, I was like, that was just something
Yeah.
shit. And that's the first like version of shit. Like eventually I'm gonna like do like different shit with different lenses and different photos. I'll be like, oh, I can edit this and shit. Now that I can do that and take the time to do it, I can do something like even bigger and shit. And I do that just in my free time. And like when I was drunk, and I was like, okay, and it came out fire.
Yeah.
And it came out fire, and I was drunk, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, I guess I really do have like a talent for it. Like I guess I don't like giving myself props because I feel like I'm not the one doing it and shit. Like I feel like when I have conversations, like yeah, it's me talking like from my perspective and like my point of view, but I have like imposter syndrome. Like I feel like all the shit I accomplished, I feel like nah, that wasn't me. Like that somebody else is like controlling me and like making me do like shit.
Interesting.
But it's not. It's like
Okay.
it's me. Like I know I'm doing it because like it's what makes me happy and shit.
Yeah.
And like I do that shit. I'm like, okay, like this is fine. When people go like, oh, this is stuff, like, thanks. But in my head,
But
I'm
that's
like,
you being your own worst critic though.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
not
I
being
was like-
satisfied.
it's because I always know I could do like bigger shit, like paintings and shit. Like when I first got my first big canvas, I was like, oh fuck, I'm nervous. I really don't want to paint on that shit. And then I started it, and I was like, I fucking hate this shit.
Yeah.
Halfway through, I fucking hated that shit. I was like, this shit is fucking gross.
I can see that too.
And then I did it, and then I mixed mediums in there. I did oil pastel mixed with the acrylic, and like did like a smudge, like a haze effect.
I
come
can
out of
see
it.
you though too as you're painting and I was like, God, this is so horrible. Like, why am I even doing this right now?
Oh yeah, it's just
That's
like,
why you made the video a time lapse, because the entire video of the painting is just him talking shit to himself. Like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Why the fuck? Why are we putting red right here? Like, fucking green needs to go.
I'm
here.
colorblind too, so that's crazy.
Oh, now he's making it even better.
Like I'm a
God,
photographer.
So much black and gray and white in this.
And that's not
fucking
what
painting.
colorblind
Like,
is.
come
Nah,
on.
that's not- everything just smudges together sometimes. So there's certain colors like, and so I'm like, fuck, this color could go crazy, and I'm like, it doesn't look like how I expected it to. But I still go along with it. So like I do weird ass combinations of colors that people don't usually see.
Oh yeah.
And that's why people I guess like the shit I do, because like to me it looks fucking dope.
Right.
And like when other people go like, I never see those two things like go together, especially like in that certain like sense. And I'm just like I'm like really? I'm like, yeah, like what the fuck? I was like, oh, well, I'm colorblind, so like that's something and shit. But besides that shit, yeah, I do a lot of shit and like yeah. But like I said, like I'm trying to move away like 4 hours away.
Right.
Because like there's way more opportunities out there for me.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the shit I do, like there's like I talk to certain people like who live out there, and they tell me like a bunch of shit like, oh yeah, out here like you could like easily do that shit. Like they're looking for people like you to like even just do regular shit.
Just recently in the past few years, because YouTube itself has gone up, and we talked about it when we first shot that ones. I were asking the questions, because how, now that's kind of what kids in this generation is what they're aspiring to be. They want to be a YouTuber or a quote influencer of some sorts. So it makes sense now that especially now with the ability to work from home and do all this other stuff, and just companies just being like, no, hey, just help us promote our brand through social media. That's why in these bigger cities it's so easy for those opportunities to open up.
Yeah.
And of course, and again too, and you obviously being someone who wants it, you're gonna make that quote, I guess, sacrifice, But then again too, yeah, you moved around, but for the most part, growing up in a small town, especially in the Central Valley, you're limited. Even if you lived out in like, Fresno, Madera, Tulare.
See, but that's
You know,
the thing and shit. Like,
you know,
the fact that we do grow up
even
here.
Bakersfield now, they're out there. Even if you lived in the bigger cities, there's just still so much you can do there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're still, as long as if you're in the valley, you know, it's
It's
not
like-
a bad thing. You're gonna be. If you have
For the artists and the creatives, it's like really fucking like it's hard. It's soul crushing.
If you have like that, if you have that hunger, or you know, you wanna.
If you want it bad enough,
Yeah.
you'll find a way to do it.
And basically that requires you'll have to eventually leave. You'll have
Yeah,
to
you
branch
have
out
to.
at some point and go somewhere else to a bigger city, whether you're going 3 hours north or south.
If you
You're
stay
gonna
here,
have to.
your dream will die. Like I tell that to people, I'm like, they go like, oh, I don't want to leave. Then you're not gonna do anything. I'm sorry. Like I tell, like I hate to like give people like bad news and shit. Like they were like, well, like oh, like how do I be like you? I was like, oh, you already failed.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't want to be like someone else. You should want to like do like
Exactly.
your own shit. Like
Don't get me
this.
wrong, it's good to have role models now.
It's good to have a role model, but
Uh,
like to model what you do strictly after what they
Yeah,
like
to
I
try
like
to,
Kanye
to
West.
try to mirror them, like mimic them exactly,
That's where-
like
that's
their
where you fuck
lifestyle.
up.
Yeah, no, that's
You can't do that, especially in
Yeah.
art. Fuck no.
yeah, because everybody's different. Wherever they draw inspiration from, you may be like, that shit is fucking boring to me.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm
for
not
sure.
like
And
some
that
big-
shit could make someone like make a
like
masterpiece.
you could like basically like I said, you in painting, you just be like, yo, this is my therapy, this is my escape, you know, this calms me down. Others will be like, what the fuck? I don't draw inspiration from that.
No, cause I have homies and shit. They go like, I tell them like, yeah, when I get really fucking stressed like of life and all that shit, I just make something. And they go like, how do you do that?
Yeah,
How do you
exactly.
sit
Yeah.
down and like just draw
Everybody,
something or like
everybody
write
just-
something?
Everybody operates differently.
Yeah.
Everybody's brain kind of. Everyone has what works for them, what doesn't. I've got what works for me. You know what I do, my methods, which I mean, I'm still learning new ones, trying to figure stuff out. But you know, again, what he may do that calms him down or brings him inspiration may not work for me. Like painting, I may not even think of that. Like if I'm stressed out about life, I'll be honest, painting's probably the last thing I want to do. Like I'm just like, what?
No, I get that.
So
because
it's
painting
definitely-
itself is a stressful thing too, but like it's good stress.
Yeah.
Like it's stress that you know, like when I sit down and I paint something, I don't know how to explain it without like.
You want to make something appealing, obviously, to the eye.
No, not really. I just want to make.
Well,
I just
okay,
want to
okay.
give something
That's
life.
your, I was gonna say that's your purpose, yeah.
Cause like look, like there's a blank canvas. Like you can have this mentality towards
Oh,
anything.
okay,
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a blank canvas, and like
Okay.
there's something in here that you could transfer into the real
I was
world.
gonna say yeah.
Like
yeah,
that shit is doesn't that shit like excite you?
Yeah,
like
now that you put it that way, it's like,
like-
okay, well, when you look at it from that perspective, yes.
like I feel like when I talk about shit like that, like my smile
It's
just
actually-
gets big as
that's
fuck
why
and my eyes get
actually-
wide.
I didn't mind in high school taking art class. Like everyone
I
talks.
failed art in high school
I mean,
multiple times.
everyone. It was funny though, because like everyone did like. Okay, obviously everyone. Let's be real. No one really cared for the teacher.
Oh, no.
But at least for,
I would have clapped though when I was at my horniest though. I had issues. I don't know why I thought I would hit, but I was like 14. I was off the hormones and
Yeah.
shit. She was like old as fuck. I'm like nah. let's not say her name.
Yeah. She's
Hit
retired
me
now.
up,
That's
though.
all you need to know.
Nah,
But,
hit me up though.
No, I remember like when I took the class, because I remember they gave it to me because at our high school you had to get either a visual or performing arts requirement. I
Yeah.
still needed that come junior year, and they just threw me right into art. I was like, art appreciation. I remember being like, I don't fucking want this class. All right, whatever. And took it. I was like, all right, whatever. And ended up passing. You know, it was one but again, I didn't mind the class. I had a first period
I
too,
didn't like it.
so I didn't mind it. But ended up senior year. Had an extra elective, and they gave me the second. They threw me into intermediate art, which is level 2. But I remember orientation when I got my schedule and seeing that. I wasn't mad at it. I was like, all right, whatever. It's the next level, I guess. And I actually that one I found, you know, I liked it actually.
Yeah.
So kind of similar, like because we had to with level 2. This is how it went was. You would get like 2 or 3 weeks, and you were working on 2 projects. One was a total class project that the class would draw. The other one was your own. Our teacher called it your own concentration.
Yeah.
So you just kind of pick your own medium, whatever it is you want to do. Me, I decided to do. I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna draw kangaroos because you know the baby kangaroos are called joeys. So I was like, why not? You know, so I would draw like just a different style of kangaroo. Like, and like I'm talking like fucking. I would give my guy like sunglasses. Like, you know, you draw his like their ears
That's
up
some
here,
Joey shit.
and I put and I'm giving them
That's
fucking
some
I'm giving them
Joey
fucking earrings
Yeah.
and shit. Like I remember one time it was for Halloween. I did it to where this one guy, like the one guy that I gave him like fucking sunglasses, piercings, like scars on his face, and like in his hand he was holding a beheaded kangaroo, like
Jesus
some wild
Christ.
stuff. And it was cool. As at the end of the year for the final you threw all your concentrations together in a presentation, and you just talked about basically your inspiration and all that behind it, or something like that. And something along those lines, couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but when it came to that one for October, I was like, yeah, someone stole his boxing gloves, just caught him on the wrong day. So that I got enjoyment out of. So I got enjoyment out of doing stuff like that, doing something that I wanted. That's of my own. It's what I was drawing inspiration from, my own vision. That's what I liked. So that aspect of painting, which is why I would do a painting video, because I'm like, okay, I want to see what I can come up with.
It sounds like when it comes to painting for you, you benefited from like the structure of the class, like the fact that you were there and that was like an assignment, so you could you had like a certain thing you had to do, and you could do it however you want.
Yeah.
But that baseline structure, I feel like helped you.
Well, yeah, exactly, it did. Whereas before, because I noticed when it was like, okay, if you were to tell me to freestyle something, I would struggle because I overthink
Nah, see, that's my shit.
Yeah,
I hate when people tell me like, oh, you should do this when it comes to painting. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I'm gonna do.
That's not how I operate.
Like I don't paint shit because like other people tell me to paint shit. I paint like I have canvases. I have so many canvases in my room. I have enough canvases that I can paint every day, but every day is not gonna make me feel like painting. Mm-hmm. And if I'm gonna paint, especially on those bigger canvases, I want it to be a day that I feel like I don't know why, but I can feel I'm gonna make something crazy, and like I just do it.
Yeah.
And it's good with those bigger canvases. It does take me like in total probably like 8 hours to like finish one. And even then, sometimes I edit it. Like when I finish an editing, when I finish a painting, I look at it and I'm like, this needs to be here and shit. And then I'm like, okay, now it's like I have to look at it in the way of like, to me something is never fully like done. There's always something you could do. Like if you're in a situation, there's always something you could do in a certain situation, even if it may be like just like saying like, all right, I'm done, and like you just have to know when to finish. That's your thing. There's always something you could do. You just have to know when there isn't something you should do. Like you just have to say, all right, I'm done. Like you could put that philosophy towards anything in life. Like you're in a dead end relationship, you can be like, I'm done. Like this is enough. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done, of course.
Exactly,
But that's my philosophy and shit. Well, now I feel like I got to this point in my life a lot younger than most people. So I'm like, because like. Well, by the time I was like 19, 20, I like started realizing shit like that, and I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna waste a lot of my time and shit. So that's why I was like, all right, I'm done being fat. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'll lose weight. I was like, I'm done wasting my time like in school.
That was your motivation.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm done of like some shit. I was like, I'm done living a regular life when I know like I got certain talents that like people always tell me like I wish I could do it like you. I wish I had.
It's kind of fitting. I'm
like,
not gonna lie. It's kind of fitting like for you that you ended up doing this YouTube thing. It's kind of fitting actually.
Why is that?
In my opinion, I don't know. Just now that you kind of bring all that up, you say all that. I mean, it is true because even in like when I first met you, even in school, you were always just rather just laid back about it. School is always something where like
don't get me wrong. Like I'm
like
very smart.
Yeah, no, like obviously you tried, you graduated, and everything, you finished, but it was always something where, like let's put it this way, because it's safe to say when you get into college, like a good amount, like a number of like underclassmen, freshmen, sophomores have an idea already of whether they are going to go to college or not. And over those next 2 years, they'll know. But I don't think for you, like even at that time, like even as you got older, just school was never really on your mind. It was kind of like, I'm pretty sure. Would you agree that you just went to college just to do it in a way, or just to do something?
Because they gave me money.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could go to college.
It was free in the sense.
I could go to college. It was free. They would give me money and I could do a bunch of scholarships because like I could just like write an essay and give them a fucking crazy ass story.
And
like,
the worst case was it's like, all right, this doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's like, but I don't care and shit. Like I could go back to school whenever and shit. If I want to go back to school and like get my degree in whatever like field I want, I could do that. Yeah. Like it's not gonna be hard.
Well, what kind of the thing too is you went to chose the community route too. So it was one of those. It was like, all right, this is only 2 years, so.
But
even if I do finish this, if I don't want to, then.
Yeah, I could just like stop.
It ain't. Yeah.
But I was like, man, I'll just go and shit. And I'm like, my first, like in high school, my highest GPA was probably like a 1.9 because I didn't enjoy school. I don't enjoy school. But when I went to college and I actually like, I was like, oh, I like this system is like way like it feels better. I had like a 4.0, and I'm like, yeah, like the school isn't hard. It was never hard and shit. It's just that structure and shit. It just like I don't know. I always wanted to make shit. I just want to make shit. Like I want to like show my talents. My talents don't lie in the fucking.
You didn't want to be told to do something a certain way,
Nah,
essentially.
hell no. Because like, what the fuck? Why are you telling me what to do? Who made you the police and shit? Who made you like the ruler of like how someone else has to like do
how
their shit?
How did you finish? Did you finish through like continuation or like?
I went to a charter school like immediately, so I graduated like 2 years earlier.
Yeah, because you left
My junior year.
basically after we had
After
graduated.
you graduated.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just fucking. So in that time that I wasn't like in school, because I waited until like my class was like going to college and shit to like go. So I was like, I'll just fucking like, I just like
So you
did my
essentially
own
just
thing.
kind
I
of
just
did your, you
learned.
essentially in a way just did your GED essentially.
Yeah, I just like did that. And I just like, I was like, fuck it, who cares? Like this shit isn't gonna matter, because I knew from an early age that the shit I want to do isn't gonna be accomplished in a fucking school.
Yeah.
Like I want to like, I don't want.
At least
like,
not a public
like
school.
nah, fuck no. Like what the hell, hell nah. Like if anything, I'll go to like Juilliard for like some fine art shit. But like I wouldn't go
That's
to
if
like.
you get the scholarship. To
That's
get
it.
There,
Yeah, that's if. Yeah.
That's if. Yeah.
But it's whatever shit. Like school, it doesn't matter. I don't believe in school for art either way, so it doesn't really matter. But for me, it's just like I was like, I always knew what I wanted to do was gonna be like creating shit. Like I always said I want to make a movie. I want to make like shows. I want to like do my videos. I want to make art. I want to make music. I want to do all that shit. Like now I'm taking the steps.
When it came to that stuff, like making movies and shows and shit, I was always me at least. I was more of like, well, you know, if the opportunity was there to be in one, I would definitely would like. I'd be more of like. I'd like to be like, I definitely would like to be an actor in a sense of it, like, you know, like a small movie or like a small show or something like that, or if anything, maybe like a small producer, have some kind of producer's role.
If you think about it, the shit that we do right now is like, in a sense, a stepping stone towards that.
Yeah, and essentially though, like for me, kind of that's why I've always like, because I've also, well, at least producing, I've opened up more to that too, because when it comes to a lot of shows that I like, or just even like just like actors and stuff, I like just researching these like all the behind the scenes facts and all that stuff, and then I just like doing my research on those kinds of things. And even to where my roommate himself has told me one time, he's like, "Have you ever thought about like maybe being a producer or something like that?" And I was like, "It's crossed my mind a couple times actually," but yeah, I was actually I was someone who actually liked school and got enjoyment out of learning new things. So that's that's why probably why I went to college. Like at one point I did contemplate the military.
It's a weird dichotomy that we have on this podcast.
Yeah, I contemplated military, I remember, which I'll openly admit, I only talked to a recruiter so my mom would stop pushing it. But don't get me wrong, the guy did his job. I definitely did consider, like, saying, screw it, let's just do it. But I was 17 at the time, and I was still considering what I was doing. And even the recruiter told me, he's like, oh, no, that's fine. He's like, it's good that you're thinking about this now. And, but went into my senior year and knew still, like, no, I want to go to school. Like, I told my mom, like, look, I know, I talked to the recruiter, yeah, but look, and I told her, essentially, sorry, but just military's not me. And even though the opportunity was there to travel, which is something I do want to do, and it could have been free, let's just be honest. It was one of those, though, where I even look at it now, and I'm like, had I had done that right out of high school and, like, went to college and everything, still, I honestly think probably once I got all my degrees and qualifications, I would have then left. I wouldn't have been in the military for the long run. And I definitely think I don't think honestly I would have been happy. Like, or honestly, I think after I maybe did like served, was it 4 years? My one term, I would have been like, nah, I'm done. I would have been one and done, and that was it. I wouldn't have done it for the long run. I wouldn't have.
That's fair. Shit.
No, yeah, like some too. Like again, some stay in it till they're done, till they die. Some get out, do a one and done. Some go in, and then at some point into like their 30s, like, all right, we're done. So, but for me, it wasn't for me, and I knew. If I did it, I definitely would have traveled and would have had a lot of stories to tell, but I obviously wouldn't be here, and I just also know I wouldn't be happy. So, and I'm kind of in my life for maybe polar opposite to where it's at now. And, I don't know, I don't play the whole maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, but, I'm just like here where I'm at now, and I like where I'm at. So, I mean, I'm not gonna settle for it. Obviously, there's still far more I want to do, but at least in the moment, I'm happy for the most part, doing what I like. So.
I mean, that's what life is and shit. Just find what makes you happy and go with it and shit.
Been wild. These last 6 months, for sure, and we still got September now, October, so 3 months left in 2022.
Oh, I didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
I recorded a video the other day. It's called "To Me in 5 Years" and it drops on my 28th birthday.
Okay.
So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And then everything I said in there while I was recording it, I started crying.
Shit.
Because like I was like, the video isn't even long. It's not even 4 minutes, and it's barely even edited. I just had to like cut out like blank spaces and me crying, and I was like, so I had to edit that shit out. And then I was just like, the shit that I said in that video, I feel like in 5 years from now, like people are gonna be like, how the fuck did you like know that?
Yeah.
And shit. Cause I was like, how's everybody doing? Like even now, like just thinking about that shit makes me sad. Not sad, but like it gives me emotions and shit.
I don't like to think where I'll be at in 5 years. I'm just like,
I like to think about that shit because it makes me feel way more comfortable in living my life.
I have a love hate with it. I don't mind. Like sometimes I like thinking deep into my future. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, no. I'm not worried about 5 years from now. I'm worried about fucking next month.
Honestly,
You know?
I feel like I have to worry about like shit like that. I don't know why. I just always been like that. Like I have to think like 5 steps ahead of like everything and shit.
Oh, for sure.
But it does weigh on your mind a lot. It does like I'm constantly under the fucking stress of like life.
Yeah, everybody is, but that's a lifelong journey. Said we're never satisfied. But to this channel in 5 years, we're proud of you, and we love you. That's all I gotta say.
I hope you're happy.